Hi guys, Mike here from KS Bushcraft Down Under. So this is the Yeti Tundra 45. It's a great cooler, and all of these Yetis share the same trait, is they're tapered from here downwards. So really there's a bit of wasted space when it comes to storing. Now when you're on a big trip, often things like your hard veg and bread never make it in the cooler, so they're vulnerable. So where I live, a lot of the wildlife's been habitualized at campsites, so they turn up in the night looking for an easy target. So I often use a second cooler as a food bin. Now the problem is, unless you actually keep it cool, it destroys your veg, because yesterday the air temperature here was 42 degrees. So really it would be better off in a cooler place. So what I was thinking of building is a critter-proof cage that, when not being needed, can sit below here, so they're not losing any storage space. So I'll need to make the lid so it can sit on top of the lid, otherwise it'll be a pain. Now on a cheap cooler, I made this tropical lid last summer, and on a cheap cooler this gave it an extra day. So I'm thinking about possibility of that as well. Now in our gold rush in Western Australia, there's a place called Coolgardie. It was called Fly Flat for many reasons, and they had a form of refrigeration that used water in Hessian. So I was thinking about those lines as well. I mean, it won't bring it down to 4 degrees Celsius, but it could give a 10 to 15 degrees Celsius drop. So either as an upgrade to putting a wet towel over your cooler, or as a standalone unit, if I could build all that into one unit in a compact space, that's the plan. So I've knocked out some rough measurements. I want it to sit below these handles, otherwise it'll be too painful, and I want the unit to drop inside. I want it to be small enough to keep out possums and rats. And there's the overview. So it's verge side junk at the moment, so I was lucky enough to pick up about 20 meters of aluminium angle iron, which is just fabulous, and some old mesh. So I've got everything I need to build the base, and I need to give some thoughts for the lid. So we'll go out and we'll start cutting metal, and I'll see what I can come up with. Alright guys, use the joys of video editing. That's all done. So I have a Tundra 35 and 45. They're both the same dimensions in height and width, just length. So 35 will just come up less in this direction. So aluminium frame, all pinned in with pop rivets, pretty simple construction. Mesh floor, smaller mesh on the sides. I didn't have quite enough the small mesh to make a top and the bottom. I think the lid will be more of a priority. I can always put a bit of plyboard in the bottom. So I'll drop that in there and show you what she looks like. Alright, so I made it dead on for the width, and I left some wiggle room on the depth. So enough room I can get to these without any hassles, because otherwise it would be just way too painful. So if I make a lid big enough, it can either sit over the top of this cooler and provide a bit of shade, and maybe like the tropical roof I made before. But if I clad this in Hessian, and maybe the lid as well, I should be able to make a microclimate for the cooler to sit in. So that can make a huge difference performance-wise. So what I might do, I might cable tie a couple of old towels on and see what the performance is like. Because we're heading up for another burst of hot weather here. Okay guys, so I've just got the towels wrapped around it with a bit of bungee cord. I've got the temperature probe on the inside. It's awfully hot outside. So what we've got 44.3 ambient air temperature, and inside the box there we've got 27.5. That is a huge difference. Okay guys, so there's my vermin proof box. I made the lid big enough that it can sit underneath and the cooler can drop in on top. So I think that's a good job. So I'm going to try and hunt out some old Hessian, something with an open weave. I think maybe airflow is the trick to getting the best result, rather than like a towel material. which is what I tried before. So I'll see what I can scrounge up in the way of Hessian, and then we'll give it a test as a Coolgardie safe. So guys, air temperature is about 38 degrees, 48 obviously in the sun here, and 24.2 inside this cooler. So I've just used the metal tray on top and it's just wicking away. So that's a huge difference. So I'll call that a win. The difference wasn't so great until the wind started blowing, and then it really started working. So it wants to be somewhere in a dry climate with a breeze. Anyway guys, if you find this content useful, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.